The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
All right, can we talk? We allowed?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
It's the beginning of the show.
The beginning of the show.
What do you mean?
I don't want it. I don't want it.
What don't you want? Christmas?
No, that's canceled too.
You know, December 22nd, the days officially, as of today, start getting longer. How do we feel about that?
I like that.
Hey, right?
I love
Positive-
that.
Little
Hooray.
positive emotion.
Hooray.
We're also doing the Steve Dangle Podcast, taking over the Kingston Frontenacs.
Yeah.
January 21st, you can still buy tickets at kingstonfrontenacs.com. $50 get you the game, get you a meal, and get you the ticket to the Merchant Tap House for our show. And the great thing about the game and the show is they're right next to each other. It's literally across the street, so you could roll.
It's not likely that the Frontenacs will lose 9-3.
Not likely.
Not likely.
Not likely.
And if it's like a really good last minute Christmas gift because it doesn't require like going anywhere.
No.
And all you need is like a printer maybe, if you want to just text somebody the tickets, you got a last minute Christmas gift, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't plan. Rush.
Are you guys done your Christmas shopping?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we got two opposite sides here.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
When did you finish?
Me?
Yeah.
I think because Natalie and I, because the family gifts are always a thing. Like I have to handle my family, she handles her family. So I think we wrapped that up last week. But most of the time, I'm usually done by like early to mid-December because I always know what it's like. Because to give you an insight on the schedule, the STP will continue through the holidays. We're just doing some 6 cool different episodes that Jesse has set up that are actually awesome, right? Mm-hmm. So I knew that we'd be in double recording, and we usually are around this time of year. And so I was like, you know what? I'm a couple of years ago, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting everything done beforehand. And so I don't leave it for the last minute. I know people that like make it a sport. It's like, we're not going out to the 23rd, and it's going to be nuts, and let's make it a family.
I think you might have somebody sitting next to you who makes it a sport.
I am the Lou Lamorello of Christmas shopping. If you have time, use it. So I will be completing my shopping on the way home from this very show.
I always wonder, like, who's that person who's leaving on the Saturday before Christmas and they're at the mall? How is it always so packed?
No, I think I've been at I've been at the mall Christmas Eve once in my life.
And now I know
that.
that guy is you.
No, only once it was me. December 22nd is fine. No, I'm going to go to, listen, I don't know what this is. Ajax, Ontario. Worst parking lots per capita in, I think, the world. Probably the world.
Adam,
I'm taking my life into my hands.
I hear that parking around Christmas time at malls is usually like really pleasant.
I've heard
everywhere.
it's easy.
And it's specifically only an Ajax issue, and it's not like that everywhere.
No, it couldn't be.
No.
No, I will put
It couldn't be.
any parking lot in Ajax up against Yorkdale Mall.
I don't think you should.
You would lose.
You would
No.
lose. Yorkdale Mall's bananas.
I would not. Costco, okay. If you've been to both Ajax Costco or Yorkdale Mall, Ajax Costco is 1,000 times worse.
Well, not. It
part,
is-
part of what
it is
makes
not.
Ajax Costco so bad is the gas station.
Don't
people
look at
are
me like
lining
that,
up-
Maddie.
people-
Don't look at me like that.
People are lining up for gas at the Ajax Costco.
I need to save 3 cents.
I'm going to save 3 cents a liter.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely, Maddie. Get in on this.
I just want to say that the Costco parking lot is definitely horrific. It's definitely up to par with Yorkdale, but I don't know if one is worse than the other. That's it.
Even for them to be equal, like Ajax per capita, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at.
I understand.
Mad Dog?
I was just there getting presents.
I know you were there. Oh. Okay, I know you were there.
You mentioned the schedule coming up. I can give it to you.
Give it to us,
if you'd like
Jesse.
a little preview. On Monday, upcoming episode, that's our predictions and awards episodes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about your predictions and awards now that you've had a day to think about them?
You guys stunk. I was great.
I think I feel pretty good.
I think we should have given more respect to Nathan McKinnon based on what happened last night.
Yeah. Hey,
I think he should have come up in our conversation a little bit more.
a little respect to Ovi last night, too, who actually scored a goal. Actually scored a goal.
What did we do?
I told you he's going to have he's monster back half. It's happening.
Here, wait. Guys, I got it. Man, what's up with the Leafs not winning the cup? That's something they're never going to do. All right, you're welcome.
Last episode.
You're welcome. Here it comes.
Last episode, we disrespected Ovi by comparing his last month of goal scoring to Tristan Jarry, who has 1 goal more than him. And we said, Columbus. Steve threw out the idea. He's like, Columbus game. And then I was like, yeah, I think it's a single game, anytime goal scorer Ovechkin, put down that prop. And it happened. So
I need to give a lump of coal to Elvis Berzlikins for awakening the Washington Capitals. Do you see that photo?
Yeah,
after the game?
and the Tom Wilson fight they had in the middle of the net.
Okay, what kind of goalie gets into a fight with a guy in the middle of overtime?
Yeah, in his net.
And then he woke up Ovi and the whole Capitals team, and I think we might all be screwed.
So Wednesday is our trivia episode. How do you guys feel about trivia?
I feel smart.
Closer than we thought.
Yes.
Closer than we thought.
Yes.
Closer than it should have been.
A week from today is our NHL full fantasy draft where we draft the best team. Do you think you drafted the best team?
I know I drafted the best team. You guys are friggin' idiots.
Adam?
I think my team has the most personality and character.
That's something.
I think that counts for something. I think you'll like my 4th line. I think you'll like my 4th line a lot.
Damn,
My
that
fourth
sounds
line
like
rules.
the sort of team that misses the playoffs by 1 point.
Wow, listen to this.
And January 1st, next Monday, is all questions non-hockey.
All questions.
I really enjoyed that, by the way.
Remember what we did in that one.
It made me, that one, and there's another one that's coming up that Jesse's going to mention that made me feel like, man, I wish we could do that a little bit more. Because it's
yes.
we talk about in our personal lives, like when we actually, when the cameras go off, we talk about so much more than hockey. And so it's kind of, it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
That episode, I'm trying to not spoil it as much as possible, but you guys talk about animal facts, and I think the end result of that is quite funny. So that's all I'll say.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
The Wednesday, so January 3rd, that is our first ever, I'm going to try and get this right, Dangle Diculousness.
Dangle Diculousness.
If you're familiar with the MTV show Ridiculousness, we did our own version of that, calling it Dangle Diculousness. So we did that on January 3rd.
React to vidges.
Straight gas.
And it was nothing but fucking gas.
It's us reacting to TikToks for an hour. It's pretty fun.
By the way, my favorite TikToks right now are that clip of that woman going, she's like, she grabs her water bottle. She's like, never talk to a woman. And then they cut it, and it's like guys doing guy shit, blowing things up, and they're like, okay.
Got it. All right. And they're playing Fortnite. All right, drop here. All right, build that. All right.
I'm on golf TikTok, so there's a lot of guys who cut that video and they just hit it like a massive drive down the middle. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Anyway, watch me hit this drive. Yeah.
I like the one where forget everything you know, and then it cuts off, and the guy goes like cross-eyed and starts drooling.
Are you guys on the, I think her name's Jen the Baker controversy?
No, what's going on?
Steven,
Jen the Baker. No. You have to explain.
So there's a TikToker. Her name's Jen the Baker. She's a baker. All she does is bake. Her thing is she makes baking TikTok videos. Very popular subsection of TikTok. Food videos.
Yes.
She's a baking. Jen the Baker made a TikTok where she said her least favorite thing is when people come up to her and ask her what's her favorite thing to make.
Why is that her least favorite thing?
That's her least favorite thing. So the new thing, the controversy with her is she has been stitched 1,000,000 times by every creator on TikTok. And they'll be like, Jen the Baker, your name is Jen the Baker. Mm-hmm. You work as a baker. Your whole personality is you make a living being a baker. So what's your favorite thing to make? And then they'll be like, how dare you ask me that question?
Here, ask me what I do, Jesse.
What do you do, Steve?
Oh, I make videos about hockey.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Who's your favorite team?
Who's your favorite team? Idiot.
And everyone's like, what do you mean you hate when people ask what you like to bake? Your name is Jen the Baker. Do you not want me to have a conversation with you?
Also, people that bake usually never shut up about it, how much they love to bake. And that's great.
So everybody's just mocking her for being like, don't ask me what I bake. That's a bad question. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
It's not a bad question, Jen.
Yeah.
Also, I think of late, we've gotten to know the people that we like too well. Like, I like Jen the Baker in this instance, and I've never heard of Jen the Baker before this conversation because she bakes things, and I go, maybe I could try that if I feel ambitious one Saturday morning, right? And I'm not a baker. My wife is. She's killer at it. And then you find out that Jen's kind of an a-hole because of a question like that. Now maybe she isn't, but that's kind of an a-hole answer, right? Let's be honest. And what I'm realizing is I know too much about the people that I follow. Like, I honestly, at this point, I don't think we need to know everything about everyone. I only want to know baking about Jen. I don't even really care what Jen's personal opinion on anything else is.
This is a very, not boomer. What's the one before boomer?
Gen X?
Gen X. I think it's a Gen X take.
Is it a Gen X
take?
take?
Gen X is more recent than boomer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they'll be like, in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, our celebrities, we didn't know anything about them. The things you found out about them is
what they wanted you to know.
When they did the magazine feature.
Yes.
They did the long sit down with Rolling Stone,
yes,
your favorite artist, and the things they revealed, that's what you found out about them. But today, these Gen Z celebrities, when they go to the bathroom, when they wake up in the morning and everything. And I think that's just the reality we live in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, we're living it too.
Right.
Like, we talk about other shit other than hockey on this show and our families and everything else.
I don't know which one was better. Like, if it was better when we didn't know everything about every celebrity all the time,
Also, is there a question, and I know Jesse's not through the schedule yet, but is there a question that actually bothers you?
No, literally.
Jesse, is there a question that bothers you?
No, I don't understand what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I not bothers me, but people want to know what people I've worked with are like, and they want me to be like, he's a dick.
Oh,
and I just don't have that to say.
Yeah, I know it bothers people.
Unless you're real clever.
There's a subsection of people that every time we bring up Kipper, who's never been Nick Kipper.
It's always Kipper.
Yeah,
it's always Kipper.
Who's never been anything but gracious and kind to us. And that, except for calling you a loser on national television.
My uncle wanted to fight him.
But I thought
he
it was.
told me that my uncle wanted to fight
was that not great theater?
Oh,
he didn't actually mean you were a loser. He said it was a loser mentality, and then he came on the show and talked about it.
And the first time I met him, it was I was like gathering stats for Sofia Jurcevic. Like, I was behind the scenes at Sportsnet.
Yeah.
And I was in the same room as Kipper after he called me a loser on national television, and I walked up to him and was like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm Steve." And he's looking at me, and I go, "Steve Dangle, you called me a loser?" And he just goes, "Oh!" Gives me a big old Greek taste of the Danforth hug, and goes, "That was great, wasn't it? That was
and
great,
wasn't
it?" And I was like, "It was great when you called me that. Can you take a picture with me where it looks like you're gonna punch me?" He's like, "Absolutely."
That was a great picture too.
with his big King Leonidas hands, and I was like, he could kill me.
No, Nick's a fantastic person.
Yeah,
you
he's a great guy.
Schedule?
Oh, sorry, to finish the schedule.
No.
Next Friday, 2 weeks, not next Friday, next Friday, 2 weeks from today is the second annual Hot Take-A-Palooza.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of my favorite things we did last year, and we brought it back for the second time. So, yeah, Hot Take-A-Palooza on the January 5th, that would be. And then after that, we are back live.
I'm excited for Dangle Ridiculousness because every video elicits a ridiculous, like an actual ridiculous reaction. Good and bad.
You guys didn't really like the one who was spilling tea about what she overheard on the train? Or just about the intern?
Because she didn't spill tea.
Yeah, you guys wanted more.
If you're going to spill tea, spill the whole glass. It can't just be a little dribble here.
Yeah, no, that was a dribble.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I pulled a Jen the Baker once in my entire life.
Ooh.
And that is why I haven't done it twice.
What did you do?
I had just worked at Leafs TV all day. The Leafs were terrible when I worked there. I was cutting highlight packs for them, but it was more like cutting highlight packs for the other team. Like, oh, the Leafs just lost fucking 6-1 to the Caps. And instead of that being a once every couple months thing that happened, that was every damn day. And I went to the club after, some bar, whatever. And there was a girl in our friend group who brought her boyfriend to meet us all for the first time. And he knew that that's what I did, and I worked in hockey. He's like, "So what do you think about the Leafs?" And the only thing to think about the Leafs at the time were what a bunch of shitty losers. That was the only thing to think. And I was tired, and I went, "You know what, man? Like, I don't really want to talk about it right now." And it's the only time in my life I've ever done it. And those two are still together. They actually just recently got married. And I know for a fact he's held it against me ever since. I just felt his energy. And like, it took years to like even sort of crack the shell of, hey, like I'm not that night always. I was just
There's only one
sad and
opportunity to
grumpy
make a
that
first
night.
impression, Steve.
No,
Dangle.
and that was my first impression with him. And it was a bad one. And I've never done it again.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, if you ask me about the Leafs or hockey, fucking right. I got something to
You
say.
went on a first date and pooped your pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poopy doopy.
Gotta change your diaper.
All right. So when I
Well,
turned on,
if they were finding a replacement for Gustafson, they might be okay. But
so
You could have said that.
you could have
I
said
know.
that. You
Could've
could have said
said
anything
that.
other than fuck off. With
Fuck
your question.
off.
I didn't
loser.
say fuck off with your
I think you
question.
did.
Yeah.
You said a
No, I'm
polite-
pretty sure. I remember it as you tell him to fuck off,
Yeah.
dirtbag.
And you are?
Hey,
I'm Steve Dangle.
don't ask me about the Leafs.
Not even I'm Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle in 2009,
Yeah.
which is even less impressive than it is now.
How many subs would you have had in 2000?
Like 4,000, 5,000. Like
That's literally Jen the Baker. You are Steve Dangle, Leafs guy, and you said, "Don't ask me about the Leafs."
No, I didn't. No, I
you're-
didn't make
he's
a
right.
video while baking. By the way,
Yeah.
she's baking in the video. I didn't make a video while making an LFR. Going, don't ask me about the fucking Leafs. No, that was my private time, and I was like, dude, I don't want to talk.
Whenever
about it right
people
now. I
say
just want to
don't
have some beers.
Don't ask me. It's like a cue to say just don't ask them anything. Like if that bothers you, then I would. If you see them in public, I'd be like, I'm just not going to come.
Dude, I was like 21 and tired and sad. And
What I get asked about a lot is, so it's funny when we go to like we'd go. Remember, we used to go to like Oshawa Generals games, the three of us.
Yep.
When we had time, and
Remember when we
it
sat
would be
front
like
row?
it'd be like, hey, there'd be a guy who'd be like, hey, I listen to your show, and then his like mom would be there and be like, I watch you on BT, and I love your mother, and like that.
dude, it happens all the time. I
And
love
so
it.
it's so funny because it's always the people our generation love our show, and their parents are like, tell me about Maryland.
That happened at a Marlies game once. Jesse and I are talking to
Yep.
like some like high school students, and you're up there talking to the mom.
Yeah, absolutely. That's me. That's me.
One thing I should do to correct myself. Her name's not Jen. It is Beth the Baker.
Oh.
I've been saying it.
Oh,
wrong.
that it works
She's
even better.
Jen now.
Yeah, the Beth the Baker, and I have one TikTok if you want to play it.
Yeah, can we?
All right,
Can we?
Maddie, pull this up.
So this is Beth?
This is Beth the Baker.
Again, I've never seen her before.
Yeah, Beth the Baker telling people she hates when people ask her what she likes to bake.
Oh my God.
And it's baking. Like,
You
this
ready?
is the
Here we
least
go.
controversial topic you could possibly pick.
Every single time I tell someone I'm a baker, they go, "Oh, what's your favorite thing to make?"
Hi, it's nice to meet you. My name is Con.
This is the
nice
one
to
I
meet
saw.
you too. My name is Beth. Gonna lie, we're vibing, Beth. I would love to follow you on TikTok. What's your username? Yeah, totally. It's Beth the Baker. Awesome. I'll follow you right now. Oh yeah, you post baking content. Actually, the last time you didn't post baking content was September 27th. That's a lot of baking stuff since then, isn't it, Beth? Sure is. I mean, I do tout myself as Beth the Baker on TikTok, right? Absolutely. What's your favorite thing to make? What did you just say to me, bitch?
Amazing.
No,
Amazing.
there's a million ones like that. People have just been roasting her constantly. I feel bad a little for Beth, but like you brought this upon yourself.
You did.
Beth.
You did. You did. Oh boy. Oh man. So I
Fuck yeah. Dude, that's, great laugh. You tickled my funny bone. That
Hockey.
is excellent.
the Leafs have only allowed 9 goals in a game 3
Oh, Adam,
times
I don't want to talk about it.
since 1991.
I don't want to talk about
Wow,
Okay. The first time
I wasn't born.
Yeah, Jesse was not even born. The last time they did this,
it. Shut up. No.
and Maddie wasn't. I don't even know if Maddie's parents were together in 1991.
1991.
Were your
They
parents
must have
together?
been, yeah.
They were.
Hey!
Yeah.
Maddie was just telling. I was talking about Ludacris and DMX, and she's like, I couldn't walk when those artists were banned.
Hey, Maddie, so I was thinking about Ludacris the other day, and she's like, oh, the actor?
Yeah. The guy from the Fast and the
Fast
Furious.
and Furious.
I
Yeah.
didn't know who DMX was, not Ludacris.
Yeah, because I said DMX, where my dog's at. Like, that should be her theme song.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that, Adam.
What should I?
No, do it again for everybody.
No, I'm not doing that again. I used to think I could do it when I was 4 or 10 and I had this DMX CD. I bought the DMX CD with my grandfather. He's like, what would you like? And we walked in, we bought The Offspring and we bought DMX.
Oh,
If anybody out there wants to clip Adam saying, where my dog
Where my dog's at?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
We got another one. Leafs.
So I was explaining to Natalie, my wife, last night, because she's watched the Leafs her whole life with her dad and now is married to me and is stuck watching them again. And I said, this is like midway through the third, I'm like, this is feeling like it's going to fall apart pretty bad here. I think there was 3 goals in 3 minutes. And I said,
and the fans.
I said, you have to understand, like a 9, like I'm like, if this feels like a video that Steve did years ago. And I brought up to her before they hit 9 goals, the 9-2 Nashville loss. And I said, believe it or not, that loss changed the trajectory of not only Steve's career, but also the podcast. Because there was like, I think at that time, an LFR could do 15, 20,000 on a good day, right?
Something like
that. Which is really respectable, like awesome 10 years ago. Like it's hockey, it's niche, it's Toronto Maple Leafs, it's extra niche.
It had that in an hour last night.
Yeah, but the Nashville one went off in a way, like I remember talking about on this show and going, what happened? Because it was like, it's still one of your top watched videos of all time, is it not?
It's in
top 10.
Yeah, I can look that up.
And
it's in the conversation.
You don't have to look it up.
I'm looking it up.
You don't need to look it up. Don't get into the weeds. No one cares. It's a top 10, right?
It's legal.
What did Nashville 9-2 do to your career?
Oh, I saw the numbers were exploding when I went to bed. That was a rare night of video. Back then, night of videos were extremely rare.
Because you did all your own editing.
Yes, did all my own editing, and there was like none to do because that video was like I don't know, like a quarter of the size they usually are. Then I woke up and I was like, holy shit, these numbers are friggin' taking off. And I had to go to Sportsnet that morning for some reason, and I had like just started there. I'm pretty sure, like I wasn't even making videos for them.
You're just doing the prep sheet.
Yeah, and I walked in and like Sid Sixero, who I like didn't even really know that well at the time, or at least I didn't think I did. I walk into the office. He's the first person to see me, and he just stands up at his desk and goes, Steve Dangle, everybody. Steve Dangle. Oh, my God. That was a great video, brother. That was a great video, brother. Oh my God. What was that? What was that? I need to know what that was last night. And it was just, the Calder Cup means nothing. No, that was a couple of years later.
Sid, by the way, Sid's another one where you couldn't ask for a better person or a better teammate. That guy, like, kind of like what's Sid really like? He's really genuinely awesome.
Yeah.
You ever see a superstar completely carry a plug? Yeah, that was me when I co-hosted Tim and Sid with him.
Right. Yeah. Hey.
Dude, that was on American Thanksgiving Thursday, like the most football heavy day of the year, and they had me on. And the show somehow wasn't a disaster.
Yeah. Well, so the 9-2 thing puts you on a bit of a different plane, though. Because it drove a bunch of subscriptions. Because a bunch of people got to try out Steve Dangle that had never heard of you before.
Oh, it was absolutely crazy. We were about a year and a bit into the podcast. And LFR was sort of, it was in this weird stage. It was dead heading into the lockout. Like views were down. Lockout happens at 12-13 lockout. I'm shot out of a cannon with excitement when the season starts. The fan base is shot out of a cannon. They finally make the playoffs. It goes 7. We all know how it ends. But that was a huge momentum builder for the channel. The next year was the 18-wheeler going off the cliff. Or one of the times the 18-wheeler went off the cliff. I think this one was Dave Nonis's 18-wheeler. And then the 14-15 season, it was sort of like, all right, what are they going to be? Right? Because remember, they were in a playoff spot basically up until New Year. That's when they fired Randy Carlyle and everything. That video set the tone for the rest of the season. I didn't put this message out there, but the message that I think everyone took is this guy loses his mind when they lose. And then a month later, they made the decision to almost exclusively lose.
Yes. That's the Horchak year, yeah.
Yes. So that's, it changed my life.
Well, it's funny because I was trying to explain when I bring that up, it's a completely different time. I remember that year we had Jeff Merrick came on the show. Elliot Friedman came on the show. We had some crazy guests from
Justin
sports.
Bourne?
Justin Bourne was on the show.
Then of the Score.
We were talking about the Leafs. We were talking about Horchak, talking about how to turn it around. And I think what resonated with that particular video is their frustration. And if you weren't there in that era, which was a decade ago, I don't blame you.
You were there when?
It's one of those. It was one of those things that the Leafs.
He didn't do it.
Adam, I'm so frustrated.
Oh, in the era. That's right.
There you go.
If you weren't there, it's difficult to explain how frustrating it was to be a Leaf fan because Leaf fans seemed to know what the Leafs needed, but the management group kept kind of saying, no, you guys are kind of stupid and you don't know. We're the hockey men. They were the Leafs. This is hard to believe. The Leafs were one of the teams that were rejecting analytics out of hand, wouldn't even look at it. Like no analytics department. No. It was 3 or 4 guys making a call, and it was shooting from the hip all the time. Well, man, what if we do this? Bang. What if we do this? Bang. And it was a mess.
You know how right now there's parity, and we were talking about it. We're like, how many truly awful teams are there in the NHL?
2 max.
2 max, and it's almost always because of injuries. Like they wouldn't have been good to begin with, but they're awful because of the injuries. Back then, man, there were at least 10 at any given moment, and it's because they were stubborn jagoffs.
Yes, and I think what was funny about that is like there was like a huge war between the analytics guys from like pension plan puppets and then like Steve Simmons from the Toronto Sun writing the article, "Where are Dave Nonis's critics now?" Which was a headline that just kept flying back in his face the rest of the year when they fell off a cliff again. And I think what's interesting is seeing another 9-3 this time. And under a completely different set of circumstances, a 9-3 that frankly didn't need to happen. Like Nashville dominated the Leafs because they were a really good team and the Leafs stunk, and they were on their way out with a coach that should have been gone long before that. And this time, this is a team against the Buffalo Sabres, who are a rival. A geographical rival.
I mean, they certainly think so.
Well, and frankly, a bunch of Toronto Maple Leafs fled the Sabres arena every time. Go down there and buy up all the tickets.
It's a big game.
And are obnoxious, and Sabres fans hate us, and I get it, blah, blah, blah.
It's a big game.
But the point is that the Toronto Maple Leafs were tied with the Buffalo Sabres. At one point, they led the game. They were tied with the Buffalo Sabres going into first intermission.
That game was attainable when
they weren't.
5-3.
It was 3-2.
Oh, it was 3-2?
Yeah. Because the Leafs were up 2-1 when Domi scored on the power play. That put them up 2-1. Then Owen Power had that goal. And then Jeff Skinner had that one that was just absolutely horrendous.
How many absolutely unforgivable goals were allowed last night? Like by Sammy alone. Forget Martin Jones. The game was
by Sammy.
3?
Like 4.
3?
Yeah.
At least 3.
Yeah, at least 3.
Like.
So 3-2 at the end of 1 is where we left off.
Okay, so 3-2. Yeah. So you still.
It was attainable.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I think I'm not sure if I tweeted it, but I almost tweeted like, Jesse, do we bet the comeback here?
I mean, not last night.
Dude, all NHL goals.
Yeah, I did. I said, do we bet the comeback tonight? I tweeted at you.
All NHL goals are impressive. All of them. Like even Greenway's shitty goal against Samsonov 3 minutes in. I'm like, okay, it was a slow fart trickler of a shot, but it was like kind of a deceptive release, whatever. Matthews with the spin and fire, that is allowed to go in 0 times out of 1,000,000. Okay? Yeah. Like it looked cool. Levi has to have that. Like that goal sucked too.
It did.
It looked neat. It's a terrible goal.
Now, I think the first thing though that we start with this game is the thing that, Frankie Corrado got on TSN this morning. By the way, Frankie Corrado coming on the show in January.
Let's go. Nice.
Frankie Corrado got on TSN with Jay Onright this morning and said, you can't start Samsonov. I know that's not the whole story, but we got it. Let's ISO on Ilya Samsonov and the struggles this year, guys, because frankly, Martin Jones, I never thought, man, the savior Martin Jones.
Oh.
What's that?
He didn't even mean to do it, frankly. Frankly, Corrado.
Frankly, Corrado.
Yeah.
The Leafs can't start this guy, right? Like he can't.
Start him when, though?
I'm trying to find the stat.
Because I think you don't start him Saturday, but you have to start him eventually because you're not calling up Hildeby, and you have 2 goaltenders, and one needs to figure it out.
That's what I said yesterday in the LFR, and I just don't know. Like, okay, this is from Nick Richard on Twitter.
Nick Ritchie, yeah.
Nick Ritchie.
Oh, don't you call him that. I like this guy. He says, Ilya Samsonov now owns a 3.79 goals against average and an 871 save percentage. To put this into context, I'm pretty sure Jack Campbell was an 873 when the Oilers sent him to Bakersfield. Mm-hmm. That's me talking, not Nick. 871 save percentage through 14 appearances this season. I don't know where the Leafs go from here, but it's getting pretty tough to envision a road back for Samsonov in Toronto. The vibe I'm getting is that people want to send Samsonov to the AHL so he can get a good run of playing time, but they also want to leave Hildeby in the AHL so he can get consistent playing time. I get not wanting to rush Hildeby, but you can't really have it both ways. How are we in this position 14 games in?
The situation's changed. Players don't play as you think they would. You know, like I feel like we shouldn't be shocked that one thing, a goalie fell off the map. Goalies fall off the map all the time.
A goalie that's fallen off the map before.
Yeah. So
Not like this.
There's a reason Washington didn't tender him.
It's not about, I don't think, complaining about how we got here. It's about pivoting into the situation that you're in.
My question is, what do you do here? Because I think, Jesse, you're right. Like, you have to play Samsonov at some point. But the team clearly, based on the way they play in front of them, don't trust him.
It's toxic. We didn't make a big enough deal of, I think it was the 3rd goal that Samsonov allowed in the previous game that he played. I don't remember which game that was.
That was Columbus.
And the camera catches Tavares. Mm-hmm. That is not a typical reaction when a goal.
Well, what did he do?
He goes, oh. His face, very clear. And this is John Tavares. Like, he doesn't emote. And he did last night, actually. He got really pissed off. John Tavares' face very clearly said, this fucking guy. And last night, the team quit. Like, Sammy was awful, unusable.
We're talking about Sammy, though.
I know.
After.
But the team quit. The reason they quit is because you don't have... What do they always say with goalies? Give us a chance to win. Martin Jones is, I'm tempted to say, not a great goaltender, but he won 27 or 28 games last year with like a 888 save percentage, which at this point would be a wild improvement. Or 887, whatever it was. He seems to, even in games where he's not great and his numbers aren't great, give his team a chance to win. That first Greenway shot goes in, you know you're not winning tonight. You know he doesn't have it.
What goal was that?
That was the first goal.
The one
3 minutes in.
I think no.
2:27.
And that's the reason I
30.
ask, right? Because it's important. Like, I turned on the game 3 minutes late and I already missed it.
It's one of those games.
But I think there was 9 goals last night, so we need to say which goal.
It's one of those goals 3 minutes in where you look down at the equipment you just put on and go, what a waste of tape. Like, how are we even? There's 57 minutes left. Jeez. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? And it shakes his confidence. And everyone was talking about, like, oh man, that's really not what needed to happen. If allowing goals makes you miserable, I have bad news about being a goalie in the NHL. And there are lots of things going on with Sammy that people have talked about. I don't even know which ones are true.
Well, we know he just had a baby.
He just had a baby.
And anybody who's had one, you know.
I get it. I get it. Listen, I think you can have the maximum amount of empathy here. And
because you like the person.
He's a
good guy.
Life is hard. X, Y, and Z. There's a game tomorrow. There's a game Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then they have 3 days off for Christmas. And then they have a game. Then they have a day off. And then they have a game followed by a game. Like, so this is the thing. Like, you can feel bad for the guy. You can have empathy. You don't need to call him a bad person. He should tear up his contract. Like, you need the schedule doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. Hey, our guy's struggling right now. Can we maybe have like a week-long break? No. So the conversation about Samsonov isn't, is he struggling? Isn't, is he bad? A lot of us seem resigned to, he will not get it back. That's what a lot of people seem resigned.
Yeah, I'm not resigned to that, but I think it's going to take more than a week.
Well,
and it also doesn't matter what the fans are resigned to. So like a lot of the stuff about like tear up his contract, call up Hildeby, it's Jones and Hildeby till Wall comes back. None of that is coming from the Leafs.
Yeah.
So like the reacting to that is reacting to what the fans are just upset about in the moment. So I'm not sure like what the truth is and how the Leafs view the situation, because all we're hearing is the media narrative one about you got to send him down and all that, and then the fans being like fire him into the sun. So the actual situation of what the Leafs are going to do here is probably the smart one, in that you try and figure it out with him, because that is the best end result, is that he gets it back.
They've tried to figure it out with him several times this season. I know Curtis Sanford is trying to work with him and being his biggest advocate. I know Nick Antropov is actually involved in all this as sort of a translator. Nick Antropov works with Samsonov a lot. I know that. Is he usable right now? Is he usable?
No.
As a realistic option to win National Hockey League games right now?
Not right now, no.
No, he is not. So we know that, right? That's the information we have in front of us. It's fine to like send out an angry tweet or yell an angry LFR or even have an angry podcast. What's the solution? We have a problem. We've identified the problem. We can come up with creative ways to talk about the problem and make memes about the problem. What's the solution?
One thing you talk about, the schedule not stopping. The schedule actually falls in Samsonov and the Leafs' favor right now because of all the time off. You don't have to play him until next Friday. Martin Jones can start the next two games because there's like 4 days in between them. You know, he goes Saturday, then their next game is the Wednesday against the Sens, and then they have the Blue Jackets and Hurricanes next Friday, back-to-back Friday, Saturday. So one of those games has to be Sammy's. He has a week off here. I think that's a little bit of runway for Jones and to see what Sammy can do.
I want to throw out there that he said last night, and credit to Ilya Samsonov for talking to reporters last night.
Play it?
He didn't last time.
Put it up.
Yep.
All right. Here's Ilya Samsonov post game after the 9-3 loss.
It's true stuff right now. Last couple of games, it's really tough. I need to figure out everything in my head. That's the first one. It's not about technique. It's not about not about nothing. Just in the head. This is what I'm seeing, and this is just I need to figure out.
I think we appreciate the honesty there. How do you get through that? Do you work with Martin? Do you work with Curtis? Like, how do you get through this?
Can you pause it for a second? Like, everyone talks about how tough and how mean the Toronto media are. Mm-hmm. Oh, we appreciate the honesty. Like, in the middle of it, like, the Toronto media can be really tough on these guys. They're pretty coddled and reasonable on a lot of different fronts. I'm sorry, continue.
Go back a little.
I think we appreciate the honesty there. How do you get through that? Do you work with Martin? Do you work with Curtis? Like, how do you get through this?
No, we're working really hard every day. Sometimes, you feel in the practice really good, but you need to do some same in a game. Yes, this is why I'm said just a mental hard time for me, but I will be fighting.
Man, I don't know how you watch that and don't feel completely gutted
For him.
guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, and this is the conversation. This is what I'm talking about. Gutted for the guy, feel horrible for the guy. There's a game tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Both of those things, like, he's a human being deserving of all the sympathy in the world, and there's a game tomorrow. Those are two true things. If he doesn't figure it out, and he's got maybe a month's runway or less, who's the starting goaltender of the Toronto Maple Leafs if everyone's healthy?
Joseph Woll.
Joseph Woll. Who's the starting goaltender of the Toronto Maple Leafs right now?
Martin Jones.
Martin Jones. Sammy is the third goalie. Mm-hmm. You waive him. I never would have guessed in a million years that the guy who won a playoff series last year, who knows, maybe they get through Florida if he's healthy. I don't know. Or do they do better than losing in 5?
I thought Joseph Woll was great in the playoffs last
I thought he was
year.
pretty good too. He didn't look as good as he has now, which makes sense. Rookie and all that. I never would have guessed that after winning a playoff series, it would take 14 games for us to be like, oh, okay, he can't play in the National Hockey League.
Well, and I think what you're seeing though is what happens to goalies, and it speaks to the difficulty of the position, because I've said this before. It's not like Samsonov stopped being good at hockey, and he said it there. It's not that the skill isn't there. It's not even the technique. It's the mental behind the technique.
He's determined.
You tweeted it, and then Fried said it 2 minutes later on the intermission about losing the blue ice. His side to side is like put a rope on him and tie it to the back post, because we got to make sure he remembers where his goal is.
His movements are completely wild. To me, that's
chaotic. It's chaotic.
It's completely chaotic. To me, that's one of Martin Jones's biggest strengths. Unfortunately, pucks seem to find their way through him, but he stays in his friggin' net. Like, at very least, he stays in his net.
Well, he's also done a lot of technique changes in the last year or so. He's been working with coaches on that.
Good, great. Good. And I mean, he didn't do great last night, but the game was over. It was over. And the team quit. Like, it was unacceptable. Taking it out on Sammy is one thing, just completely quitting on Martin Jones in a game that was still attainable. Or at least, you could force overtime. You could bring it to within 1. They quit. The team quit. I can't remember where I was going with that, but we're after 14 games, we're at a point where Samsonov, I think the best thing for him would be to get waived, and he would probably go unclaimed.
Yeah, at this point.
That interview, appreciate his honesty and everything in the same way that I appreciated Kyle Dubas's honesty in what ended up being the final press conference with him as the Leafs GM. But is that not the equivalent that we just watched? Do you watch that and go, that's a guy who I can play?
Well, we know that he isn't. And I think what I appreciated about his honesty was that he's he basically, without saying it, said it. And the Toronto Maple Leafs have something that they've got to figure out now. Because
they do.
Because this guy is, whatever happened, whatever's thrown him is now their problem. They also have a roster freeze, so they can't move him.
Yeah.
Right. No, not now. I'm not saying now.
Yeah, but
yeah.
This is a guy that Jesse made a point earlier about how the schedule kind of goes in their favor over the next week. Well, that's nice, but it's only a week. And I hope Santa Claus delivers him some peace. Some internal peace. I know what it's like to have your brain not go the way you want it to. Totally get it. Get that. And I feel for him. But now it's about, let's not talk about Ilya. Let's talk about what the Leaf strategy has to be. And my thing is I don't even mind, and I know this sounds crazy. What if you started Martin Jones back to back? You can't play this guy. And the more you play this guy, the more it's going to get worse. And the problem is you can't have him sitting in the press box either, because I guess you call it Keith Petruzzelli because nobody wants to bring Dennis Hildeby up, and I understand that. And so but he's not injured.
The Leafs know the right answer here. If you have a confidence in Hildeby that if a game goes right or a game goes wrong, he'll be fine regardless, you call him up and you play him. You play him 1 or 2 games. Wool comes back. Hooray! Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Wool might be out till February.
Dude, it's
a high ankle sprain.
They need him to play. And what's funny about Samsonov is I could see him going to another team and completely
because he has
the
the talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what happened in Washington? It became a poisonous situation where he was so poor that they're like, we can't play this guy. And you look at his numbers from Washington, and that decision from the Capitals did not fall out of the sky. Then he came to Toronto. Woo! He had his games, but that was a great player. And it's the second his job was threatened, it was over. And, maybe that's his trajectory, is he goes, he spends his time with the team. At the first sign of trouble, he's got to go somewhere else, and then he's great there. And then, maybe it goes downhill. I don't know. But like, you start Martin Jones back to back. This is goalie on the wrong side of 30. What happens if he tweaks something? And then you're fucked. Then you're fucked. So I'm tempted to say, call up Hildeby for a game.
Why not Petruzzelli? Why not Petruzzelli, though?
It could be Petruzzelli, but Hildeby's better.
You guys wouldn't give him one of the games next Friday, Saturday?
I think they will.
Sammy?
I think they will.
I would.
Yeah.
I would, as like a, here you go, man.
Yeah.
This is it.
I think we got an opportunity there where you get a week to sit down, you get one of these games, and that's kind of it. And then after that, sending him down is entirely possible. Like, he won't get claimed on waivers. That's not going to happen. Antti Ranta, who just went down, makes $1.5 million not claimed, and he was in a very similar situation with Sammy, where they each played 14 games in the NHL this season. Yeah. Antti Ranta was 6-5-1, and he had an 854, and they sent him down because he was so bad. And he went through.
The difference, though, is Ranta was waived. There's precedent that you could put him on a conditioning stint. I don't know how it would go. Remember Jonathan Bernier? They're like, oh yeah, we're going to send him to the minors on a conditioning stint. And the league went, what's wrong with him? And the Leafs went, he's bad. And they went, oh, okay. And they just let him play in the minors. Like nothing was wrong with him.
Right. No, with Sammy, though, you just send him down. If somebody wants him, you let them have him.
I think,
that would be a lot of like cap space that Brad Treliving would love.
He's officially your third goalie.
Yeah. So if somebody wants him, so in sending him down after whatever next start you want to give him, if that's a failure, I think that's the next move, right? But there's time to make that move. A week is still a lot of time in the NHL.
I think the situation I worry about is when the Canucks went to Mike DiPietro really early. Remember him? And like he was really highly touted and he's kind of like toiling away in the minors right now. But like his stock was up here. And they're like, well, let's rush him because we have no friggin' choice. And they played him and he got murdered.
Yeah. Right now, I think Devin Levi's in a situation where he probably shouldn't be in the NHL.
He should be in the A.
He should be seasoning more, and getting ready for a long stint and a long career in the NHL. But
he's going to be friggin' incredible.
Yeah, but he's not there yet.
Yeah. No, I have zero doubt Levi will be a wildly successful NHL starter. He's not quite there yet. He's shown flashes.
So that's where my instincts come in, where everybody's yelling for Hildeby. I'm like, the Leafs probably aren't yelling for Hildeby to come up. I don't think that seems like more of a media and fan narrative. And I think they, through like everything they can do, will try and not put themselves in that situation. But if they are in the situation to send down Sammy, you can send him down. He'll clear waivers.
I was saying, last episode about Hildeby. I think my problem with bringing Hildeby up is literally the Columbus Blue Jackets or the Leafs of 10 years ago. This is the shit they used to do. They get into trouble and then guys ping pong around. Like you look at, like for instance, like Ken Johnson and David Juracek, who are both very good NHL players, who the Columbus Blue Jackets are like, we're just going to send you down. For no reason other than that. And then they come back up and they're playing prominent roles. Like I think Juracek at 18 minutes, Kent Johnson scoring for them. Like, get out of here.
The Johnson one is funny to me because they're like, well, he went down to the A and now look at him, he's great. And it's like, he didn't need to go to the AHL to be great.
No, you were just punishing him. And I think with the Leafs, I think this is kind of where you have to weather the storm, which brings us to the next point, which is I don't think they quit after the first goal, but by goal 4 against, I think that the Leafs were squarely out of the game.
Yeah, sorry, can I add one more point before?
Sure.
For anyone saying Petruzzelli, he has a 4-3-1 record in the AHL. That's okay. 879 save percent.
Preferable to bringing up Hildeby, though, right?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
That's a better save percentage than Sammy in the NHL. So.
Oh.
So listen, we've Jesse, you have the Drew and Stu Christmas Day parlay.
Yeah.
Okay, what is this?
So Drew and Stu, Cam and Drew, they've come up with a 250-1 parlay because it's the 25th, right?
Okay.
So if you put $20 on this, you will win $5,000. 25.
Wow.
And it's 250-1. The Drew and Stu Christmas Day parlay.
Let's hear it.
This is Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco to both score a touchdown in the Raiders-Chiefs game on Christmas. The Giants and Eagles game, DeAndre Swift and Darren Waller to each score a touchdown, and Christian McCaffrey and Isaiah Likely to both score a touchdown in the Ravens 49ers game. So you have 3 different same game touchdown parlays combined together to get you 250 to 1 odds. So if you're willing to put $20 down on that, that'll pay you out 5,000 smackaroos and hopefully pay for the Christmas presents you bought that day.
It's weird that you get odds that are that high because it sounds like it's likely to happen.
Hey, Isaiah Likely.
Hey, and if you want to get into it, go to betmgm.com/dangle. And you can drop a $2 Steve on that or a $20 Steve because it's Christmas and you're treating yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, I'm scared.
Watch all the games with your family. Maybe win $5,000 because of Drew and Stu.
That'd be a good Christmas.
The odds aren't likely, but you need that high payout to make your Christmas day special.
Now, you also know that BetMGM, not only do they work with the NFL, but they work with the NHL. They just announced a multi-year partnership with the NHL from game-winning goals to spectacular saves. If you want to bet hockey, BetMGM gives you the chance to make those highlight reel plays and take them to a whole new level. BetMGM has something for every hockey fan and football fan and really anybody else fan. Now, you need to know this. The BetMGM is the official sports betting partner of the NHL in Canada. They're also the king of sportsbook. Go to betmgm.com for terms and conditions. Must be 19 years of age or older to wager. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you have any questions or concerns about gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
Well done.
He's perfect at 23, baby. You can't take it away. Let's talk about the team's reaction to Sammy. So you saw Tavares go, roll his eyes against Columbus. Obviously, that first goal in the first 3 minutes is painful. There were some good Sammy saves in there. I do want to say that.
That's the gig.
Yes, I know that's the gig, but there were. So he's capable. The skill is there. But by goal 4, goal 5, they're squarely out of this. And this is a team that we've seen come back from 5-0 in one period. So that was the surprise for me, was this team. I know this team can come back probably better than any NHL team currently.
Honestly.
And they didn't.
Yeah, maybe.
And they didn't. And like CJ, I think, put in the group chat last night, he's like, the Leafs could hang 6 in the next 2 periods on these guys. You just don't know.
Freach said it yesterday on the broadcast. He's like, do you think this game's over? No.
But it was. And the team sort of, like Austin Matthews called it, the most embarrassing game he's played as a Toronto Maple Leaf. What happened?
They quit.
Why did they quit?
Because I think whatever attitude they've developed this season, this fuck you, there's something about not having a chance. I think the Leafs they're improved in that they feel like they're in every game. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're in every game, and when they're in every game, they will fight tooth and nail, whether they are winning, whether they are losing, or whether it is tied. They can score. How can you not feel like you're in every game when you just erased a 5-0 deficit like a week ago?
Yep.
With Sammy and net, by the way. You know what I don't like is that game is touted as a victory for Curtis Sanford, the goalie coach. They were down 5-0, and he's like, no, leave him in. And then the Leafs came back, and they lost, though. Sammy was in net for that. Anyway, sorry. He has a terrible record in overtime because overtime features a lot of wide open shots, and he cannot stop them right now. Where was I going with that? Oh, they're willing to fight in every game because they feel like they're a part of every game. They no longer feel like they're a part of a game that Ilya Samsonov is in. And I think that Columbus game solidified it. And then 3 minutes into this one, that Greenway shot has to be stopped. It's got to be stopped.
It felt like the Leafs told Samsonov, we did this for you last time. We erased all of those goals against Columbus last time. We're not doing it for you again.
Well, it's happened 3 times in the history of the league, or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't rely on that every game. Like, we pulled off a miracle and you still let us down.
Mm-hmm. And now we're here in Buffalo in the exact same situation. No, screw you. We're taking the night off.
No, and like you saw the fire. Like when Domi scored, I think it was 2-1.
Yeah, he put them up 2-1.
Like you saw it. And I mean, that's probably twofold. He's like, hey, I can score goals now. And also, here we go. Like, despite the fact that we allowed this shitty goal, here we are with a lead. Connor Timmins takes out Ilya Samsonov. You maybe give Samsonov a bit of a pass there, although maybe don't simply lie there like a toddler in a snowsuit.
Why in the corner? Like, wwhere are you?
Dude,
where's your net?
There are so many goals where you look at the moment the puck crosses the line and so little of him is touching the blue paint. Stay in your fucking net.
He's hanging
Holy
out.
shit.
He's hanging out at center ice, and it felt like the Leafs were like, "We're not giving you this. We're not giving you a pass every single time you're in net. We're not putting up 7 goals so you can win the game."
No, and as long as we're talking about guys who are probably going to get waived, Connor Timmins pretty soon.
He'll clear.
Yeah,
he
1.1
will clear.
million. Yeah, he will.
He will clear, and that's not a compliment. Like he's putting up points, and like Max Domi, there's another one. He scored a goal, and then he was still like -3 in the first 7 minutes he played.
I have to be honest though, difficult to be upset about that -3 with Ilya playing the way he played. I don't put that on Max.
There's something.
I don't put any of that on Max. Those goals were unacceptable, man. They really were.
We're talking about the team performance here, and I don't fault anybody's performance. Like, I feel like it falls on the goaltender last night. You can blame one person for that.
And you're
loss.
a human, Jesse. To your point, you're a human being. Like at a certain point, you're like we've all had like think about like a group project that you had in high school or university, right, or college, and you have 2 or 3 people that work really hard, and you have one asshole who's like on the Sunday night before you're due to go live with this project. They're like, "So, is there anybody need me to do anything?" Like, you know, and not that Ilya doesn't care, right? I'm not saying that, but like you know that feeling of, "Oh, fuck it, we got it." Like, just get away.
And how about this?
No, you're at your job every day, and like you're on the site, Adam. You're working with somebody, and every night before he leaves, he forgets to do something, and you cover his ass.
Yeah.
And then one day you said, you know what? Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not covering his ass tonight. I'm gonna leave that shit that he was supposed to put away. I'm gonna leave it out. And then the next morning, the boss is gonna come and be like, "Who left this out?" And you're like, "He did it. And he does it every night." And you don't have to bring that up, but you're fed up, and you're gonna let him wear it. And occasionally, these people are humans because they're not just hockey players. They're actual human beings, and they're like, "No, fuck that." He's going to wear it.
Speaking of the human element, so we're recording this on Friday, December 22nd. So it's the last work day before Christmas. How'd you do at work today? Was it your best, most productive day? I bet. Or yesterday, was it? Yeah? You didn't leave early, did you? No? There wasn't like some goofy party like full of cookies and nothing getting fucking done? Like, this is the time of year where people check out.
Oh yeah.
Blowouts happen in the final couple games before Christmas. Mike Camito always does this day in Leaf history or whatever. It was like a couple days ago. It was the anniversary of, I think it was the first Next Generation game the Leafs played.
Oh, it was,
they
like an
murdered the Hurricane. It was like 8-1 or 8-2.
That was such a fun
I was there.
game.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, it
great
ruled.
game. Yeah.
That was the beginning of the legend of Mitch Marner, where he's like, it's afternoon games, and that means I average 5 points a game. And he just that's how he runs around the ice.
That wasn't the Dipsy Doodle spin around play.
No, that was
the next
another.
Generation. Yeah. That's one of my favorite Matthews Marner goals of all time.
It was December 23rd, 2019, and I remember the date and will forever remember the date because that was the day of our 12-week ultrasound for Leo, and it was the day we started telling all our friends and family we were pregnant.
You were pregnant.
It was a burden that I had to carry in my womb.
Oh, that's all. I'm sorry.
For 9 whole months. Just put that on the table there. No, and I remember my buddy brought his, Matt, what's up? I know you're watching. He brought his very young son over, and I had to, while they're coming back, like hold it in so I don't freak out this child. But like we just sort of looked at each other when they did the spinorama goal, which they were still losing when they scored that goal, by the way. It was that goal made it 6-5. And I just sort of turned to him and I went, they're not losing this fucking game. And that game had 14 goals. Like these games before Christmas, at the beginning of the season, there's no defense. Before Christmas, there's no defense. When you're literally resting everybody in the final couple games, there's no defense. There are times in the schedule where players just go, ugh. Back checking sounds lame, not doing it. And this is around that time of year.
Yeah, I think tomorrow will be interesting. I mean, just like the Sabres had a pretty good comeback after their nine goals against with Columbus, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs will put in some effort.
You can't lose Saturday. That is a must-win game for going into the Christmas break after what happened last night. That's a must-win game, and I think they get it done.
And two teams in absolutely miserable moods. I know Columbus just hung 9 on Buffalo, and but they just had that horrible emotional game against the Capitals, where I mean that's one of the I've never seen a team in unison scream at a goaltender after an OT winner. I've Radko Gudas did it. And he's one guy. I've never seen like that hang it in the Louvre picture. If I was a Capitals fan, that'd be hanging above my bed right now. I'd print it out on printer paper before the poster arrived at my house, so I could have it as immediately as
and
possible.
social media like that next level that our world today adds for these sports superstars, where social media just dunks on you all night. They didn't have that 20 years ago, but now if you lose a game like this, there's just Twitter accounts posting memes about look at it, Merzlikins, that loser. That sucks.
Yeah,
that fucking sucks for
You
the
should
Blue
see
Jackets.
the Sammy memes today are painful.
Yeah,
I feel for the guy. Like personally, I really love Samsonov.
No, but like you ever have a morning where the coffee hits you and you're just like, fucking we ride at dawn. Like, how do you not feel that way this morning? As a Washington Capitals fan, did you go to bed last night?
Oh man. Why did you see that picture?
How didn't you just vibrate?
Did you guys
3
see
in
the
the
picture?
morning?
yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
So sorry, I got confused. I was trying to pull something else up. So candidly, I was not listening.
Oh, sorry.
I was trying to pull up the next thing.
How do you not just vibrate and then the Leafs? Matthew, the best goal scorer in the NHL, called that the most embarrassing game he's been a part of. I tell you what, Saturday better be a war.
Yep.
Fuck the Christmas spirit
Yep.
on Saturday. It's
No
ho ho
Christmas
ho
cruise.
as you throw bows.
Got it.
For as low as we were on the Caps, they have the exact same amount of points as the Toronto Maple Leafs. They both have 38 points in 30 games.
Really?
Good for them.
So there you go.
Yeah.
The goal differential, not pretty, -8. But, nobody cares about that. It just matters about the wins and losses.
It's up 1 from yesterday.
And they got they got 38 points in the standings. Same with the Leafs, got 38 points in 30 games.
Wow. And the
there you go.
Metropolitan is no longer.
Wow.
They're pretty good over there in the Metropolitan. Yeah. So the Leafs have a goaltending issue going, and Justin Fisher, pre-show asked, when was the last time the Leafs had a full-blown starter, not a guy you hoped would turn into one?
The year
Campbell.
I thought Freddie Anderson, because Campbell had good runs, but then the year he was supposed to establish himself was his UFA year, and he was good till November, and then horrible the rest of the way. And the Edmonton Oilers are like, yes, 5 more years of that, please.
Jack started 49 games in 22.
Jack was a starter for the Leafs. I think what we're talking about is a guy where
he's a starter on every team.
Well, he's a starter on every team, but every night you're like, we have the better goalie.
Right.
And the answer is
got to be Freddie Anderson.
Freddie Anderson, the year he finished 4th or 5th in Vezina voting.
And he deserved it. He was amazing.
He 100% deserved it.
He just was always gassed by the time they made the playoffs.
I know. Well, which is a trend that stuck around.
From 2016 through 2020, Freddie Anderson started 66 games, 66 games, 60 games, 52 games. That is a bona fide NHL starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And frankly, they should have never let him start that many games.
No, and you know what?
But man, he was great. Look at those numbers. The numbers
great
are crazy.
numbers.
The Hurricanes cannot wait for him to get back too, because an 894, which is what he had in 6 games, would be by far the best option they've had this season.
Yeah, and with Freddie and his injury, it's a blood clot, so there's no timeline at all for his return.
Yeah.
So just wait and see.
Supposedly he's on the ice.
No, so there was
Isn't he coming back soon?
so Friedman was talking about it. There was no source from the report. It was just kind of nobody came out and reported that.
Dude.
Yeah, so people have just been, and he's like, you shouldn't be doing that because
How
of
is
blood
this
clot.
happening?
Yeah, it's been happening a lot lately. I guess we'll hit on Nolan Patrick, who didn't retire. We can correct ourselves after last podcast, Adam. But so Freddie, we don't know when he's coming back with the injury.
Yeah. I think we're I think the Leafs are at a point where also they can't really do much about it. They've got to upgrade other things, and the goaltending thing they got to hope changes by the trade deadline. There's going to be some issues there. You got to be patient. Now, obviously, we've got the Ovechkin thing, but the thing I actually wanted to pivot to next is the Ottawa Senators, and they just came off a disastrous road trip and lost again last night. And Brady Tkachuk's saying, well, this isn't fun and we're not enjoying this, whatever. Part of me feels bad for criticizing because this is essentially still a Eugene Melnyk era team. It's going to take them another year or at least till the summer to really clear this out and change this up. But I think the challenge the Andlauer era has, and that's Michael Andlauer all the way down, is changing the vibe around this team, because every time the vibes are good, they let themselves down.
Dude, who thought the team would be this bad? This bad?
No, I don't think anybody. There's nobody rightfully looks at that roster. Like if you take that roster and you plug it into NHL 24.
Yeah.
It's a good roster.
Playoff team, not a playoff team. You can have that debate. One of the worst teams in the league?
Several spaces behind the Montreal Canadiens.
No! No one thought that. No one thought that. There was no reason to think that. You could be like, oh, well, this model showed it or that, but I don't know. But dude, they don't have Pinto. They, I think, have missed Norris at times. Shabbat is hurt long-term for, I want to say, the second time. They've fired their coach, who they should have never had.
Their GM.
They added to, a lot of people called the Korpisalo contract bad. I don't think anyone looked at the Sens tandem and went, oh yeah, that sucks. Korpisalo, Forsberg, that stinks. Dude, no one thought this would happen.
So what are they going to do about it?
Be sad, I guess. Dude, that's not inspiring words from your captain. Oh, this isn't fun right now.
When Edmonton's bad, we dig at Oilers fans, and part of this is just for fun, a light teasing, but it's a legitimate question, which is if the Oilers struggle for much longer, every time they struggle, how much longer will McDavid and Draisaitl want to stick around? Right? How? I think it's a relevant question, specifically in the Ken Holland era. When Ken Holland took over, he had the opportunity to build a monster around those guys, and what he ended up building was just about the same as it's better than Chiarelli had it, but the monster is still McDavid and Draisaitl. That's the only reason this team's anywhere. I look at the Ottawa Senators and I think, okay, Brady Tkachuk, captain, loves the team, loves the franchise.
Who wouldn't take him? Who's not taking Brady Tkachuk?
And I know Sens fans are going to hate me for this, but isn't that a question you would ask of a superstar of any team? How much longer? How much longer are we staying?
I think we could be on the verge of something here with him. Because I know people don't think we watch any games.
That's fine.
Leaf games, which
I don't.
is fine.
I don't really care.
I've actually been paying close attention to what's going on. Who covers hockey for a living and is not watching what's going on with Ottawa?
They've been a story every month
with complete fascination. Do you remember the clip of the Tkachuk sparking at each other? Brady and Matt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tkachuk, I don't remember who it was. Matthew Tkachuk was threatening someone on the Sens. I don't remember who it was. And Brady goes, well, then Barkey. We're going after Barkey. We're going after Sasha Barkov. If you go after our guy, we're going to go after yours. Pyotr Kochetkov on the penalty shot trips Brady Tkachuk. Tkachuk was mad about it. I got to say, I kind of think he's right.
I don't think he's right.
Well,
I think Kochetkov made a good save.
Yeah,
Suck it up, score a goal. Suck it up.
A little dangerous.
No, he went nowhere near the puck.
Suck it up, score a goal.
With a guy coming at the net like that and the board's right behind that, it's a little dangerous.
Yeah, I don't.
Dangerous sport.
But then what did Brady Tkachuk do all the way to the bench?
Parked.
Okay. You watch, and we watched them walk out of the arena with a loss. That's what we watched. So he's going to either A, develop a reputation for having more bark than bite, or B, which I think is far more likely, do something stupid. I don't think Brady Tkachuk has more bark than bite.
He's
I
tough.
will absolutely take that guy on my team 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. if he cares as much as we all think he cares, I think we're on the verge of seeing the explosion that you sort of alluded to, Adam.
Well, and I'll mention it in the holiday episodes as well, because we've already pre-recorded those, so we know what we say. But he was the guy that said to Sens fans, "No, you stop it with DJ Smith. You stop coming after this guy. We love this guy. If you love this guy, play for him." You have the one thing that we started this segment with is: do the Ottawa Senators have the talent? The Ottawa Senators have the talent. Nobody is denying that. Everybody thought, at very least, the most negative prognostication that you could have had about the Senators before this season started was outside playoff shot. Most people had them in the wild card. Most people, and I think rightfully so. So at a certain point, the answer is in the room. They've now changed the general manager. They've now changed the head coach. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's not the full-time head coach next year, but it really doesn't matter, does it?
You're supposed to get the coach bump, right? And that clearly doesn't happen. Last night's loss, I don't blame it so much on the Sens in that you can't really stop Nathan McKinnon, but
that's crazy, eh?
You are up 4-2 in a game versus an NHL team. You should be able to find a way to hold it down, but Nathan McKinnon wasn't going to allow the Avalanche to lose that game. So you look at it in a little different light, but compounded on everything, I think there's a lot of struggling there with the Senators. But to your point about Brady Tkachuk and doing something stupid right now, the second leader in penalty minutes this season is Liam O'Brien of the Arizona Coyotes. Mm-hmm. He's got 70 penalty minutes, right? He's taken 473 shifts. The leader in penalty minutes this season is Brady Tkachuk, who has taken 700 shifts.
Wow.
So he's out there so much more. Liam O'Brien just racking up those penalty minutes. But leading the league in penalty minutes when you're the captain of a team, I think a lot of it isn't justified. You can't be out there just being reckless all the time and racking up all these penalty minutes, because you're putting your team at a disadvantage every time you do that. And I don't think that's what you want out of your captain at this point in his career.
Well, you gotta pick your spots. There was something recently. Trying to remember who was fighting who. There was a skirmish. I think Simone Benoit got into it with someone and took a really good player off the ice. And Simone Benoit sitting in the box. And I like Simone Benoit, but I'm looking at it like, yeah, I take that trade. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of teams do with Brady Tkachuk. Dude, he got into a fight the other day against the St. Louis Blues. Who was it? Our favorite, Tyler Tucker.
Tyler Tucker. We brought it up the other day. Yeah.
Not knowing a whole hell of a lot about Tyler Tucker,
literally nothing,
as I have demonstrated.
Who he played for?
Every single person who cheers for the St. Louis Blues takes that trade. Mm-hmm. The Sens need to join Brady Tkachuk in the fight.
I think they need to not stop fighting in that way. If you're Liam O'Brien and you got 400 shifts so far, you play 10 minutes a night, it's probably okay that you got 70 penalty minutes right now. If you're Brady Tkachuk and you're the star of the team and the guy who needs to be out there scoring goals and making plays, you can't be leading the league in penalty minutes. You are not Liam O'Brien. We can't have you sitting in the box more than any other player in the entire National Hockey League.
Jesse, I'm hiding it right now because I know you're a cheater.
I am. Dirty cheat.
Brady Tkachuk leads the Sens in penalty minutes. I know he leads the league, but he leads the Sens in penalty minutes with 74.
I think, yeah.
Who's second?
Let's say, that's a good question, Riley Grigg.
How'd you land on him?
Did you take any penalty minutes?
He's top 10.
Is Riley or Ridley?
He's
Ridley.
Ridley Grigg.
Yeah, Ridley Grigg.
Travis Hamonic with 36. That's less than half.
It's insane.
And then the third place guy is Mark Kastelik, who's only played 14 games. Zach McEwen, who's only played 12 games. And then you got to get all the way down to Matthew Joseph and Drake Batherson until you get regular Sens. After that,
I think it's a problem. I think I don't think his head is in the right space to be playing like this. I get you, a part of hockey is you're motivating your teams by doing these things and having all that energy. But at some point, you are hurting your team by sitting in the penalty box more than anybody else in the league.
Yep.
When your name is Brady Tkachuk.
Does Brady Tkachuk match this team? I think Brady Tkachuk on his brother's team, on the Panthers, wrecks shop. Brady Tkachuk on almost any team in the Western Conference wrecks shop. He is very clearly a wild outlier on the Sens.
Do you guys remember in the bubble when Matthew Tkachuk was very upset and none of his teammates came to play with him?
Yes, because wasn't it to Jake Muzzin, hitting him with the puck, and then he slammed the door when he left, and none of the and the Flames were tired of it because he was causing too much trouble for them.
And what did Matthew Tkachuk do?
He got traded and went to the Stanley Cup final, basically with like 4 guys on this team.
He left, and he got a bunch of guys who will come play in the mud with him.
Who won that argument?
In the end?
Matthew Tkachuk.
In the end, yeah.
In all caps, 40 exclamation marks.
And where are the Flames now, right?
So
exactly.
When do you reach the point where nobody wants to go do the dirty work with Brady, and he's like, hey, I'm going to go find some guys who will fight with me?
Here's the difference. Brady signed an extension.
Yeah. The only thing is, this whole conversation is...
Well, nobody's ever asked for a trade before.
Yeah.
This is what...
No, I know.
People are always like, well, he signed an extension. Oh, he's got a no move. You're right. You're right. As soon as those are signed, no one ever moves.
Mm-hmm. No,
like,
but
I'm sorry,
but
but
there's no motivation for the Sens to trade him. Like,
other than him going, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, but then I'm like, you'll play for me. What are you going to do? Sit at home?
Like, Matthew Tkachuk
Are you James Harden?
Yeah, but
like, I don't think so.
Matthew
James
Tkachuk
Harden?
in Calgary was always so strange because I thought Daryl Sutter and Matthew Tkachuk would have been a great match or fit. Turns out they weren't. Then what did the Florida Panthers do? They acquired Matthew Tkachuk and they went, we are going to be the prickiest pricks who ever pricked. And there just isn't a Brady Tkachuk light. Like, there isn't, like, who's the Sens' Nick Cousins? Who's the Sens' Sam Bennett?
Oh, they don't have that.
Tim Stützle. No, I'm kidding. Like, he's generally a tough player who can contribute offensively.
Tim Stützle's not dirty. He just he dives, but he's not dirty.
He has a reputation for it. I think it's overblown.
Sure, it's also fun to give Sens fans.
It's also a lot of fun.
So bring it up every time you talk.
You're absolutely right. But like, who's the like? Claude Giroux can be a prick.
Sure,
it's kind of old to be doing that right now.
Yeah,
like you put 2012 Claude Giroux on this team. I think him and Brady Tkachuk.
Great.
You know, yeah.
You put 2012 Vlad Tarasenko on this team.
Oh, yeah. Like, who's joining Brady Tkachuk in this fight? I don't think it's what I'm saying.
And it would have to be somebody who's on his line, too, right? Because, like, it's not going to be Matthew Joseph.
Is it Drake Batherson?
Dominic Kubalik?
Do you see?
Artem Zub?
Do you see?
Travis Hamonic?
Do you see?
Yeah, I get it.
So
You're
I think he's taken all these penalties. A lot of these penalties he's taken are in games that are lost causes.
Yeah.
Trying to be a shit.
Trying to
get things going. Yeah.
Like I just the height of frustration. I remember it was one of the HBO 24/7 docs that had the Capitals in it. I don't remember who the Caps were playing that year. And Ovechkin finally drops his gloves and he fights Brandon Dubinsky, who at the time was like that's it's not a fair trade. It's Alex Ovechkin in his prime, but like you're taking out one of, I think it was the Rangers' best players with your best players. Ovechkin gets into a fight. I thought he won it, and he skates by his bench on his way off the ice, and he goes, "Come on, for fuck's sake!" Like, but then the Capitals were known to respond to that sort of thing.
Yep.
Like, oh, we're sad. And dude, you're going to be sad for a long time. You got like 50 games left, dude. Figure it out. Like, you have Brady Tkachuk. Play like an asshole. So, oh, we're skilled and we're going to pass and you have Brady Tkachuk. That's your captain. Be a dick. And when he's being take lessons from other teams that are built this way. Matthew Tkachuk is the last person into every scrum. Because his job is to be a dick.
Start the scrum.
And leave. Drive the other team nuts.
Yep.
And then you fight the fight for him and get in between the other team and him because he's also your top scorer. The Sens, I don't think, understand what they have with this player. That is a compliment.
Well,
Brady
and
Tkachuk, by the way,
you probably have to. He's got 4 years left. You got to give Senators management some time to turn it around him and decide what the Senators' identity is going to be going forward. Previously, they've been a high-flying, high-scoring, fast franchise with a couple of tough guys, right? Like that's been their when the Senators were at their best in the Alfredson and even pre-Alfredson, like Yashin eras. That's what they had,
and that's how they were built.
And that's how they were built. And then when they went to the Eastern Finals,
worker bees.
When they went to the East Finals, same thing: high-flying, high-scoring, couple of tough guys, right? What are the new age Senators? What are the Andlauer Senators going to be? And I don't think they know what that is yet.
You have prime Spezza, prime Alfie, prime Heatley, put them all in the same line. There's your team's identity.
Yeah.
And you build around that. You made Brady Tkachuk your captain.
Build around it.
Build around it. But we have Stützle. You're not understanding. You're dicks. Well, no, we have this guy. And that. You made Brady Tkachuk your captain. You moved heaven and earth to draft this guy 4th overall because of who he is and what he does. There's your team. Right there. He's got the biggest body and biggest head in the room. You can't miss it. Every day you show up to work and you're like, I don't know how to get out of this. Build a team around Brady Tkachuk. Look at your division.
I don't think Steve has said to build a team around Brady
Tkachuk. I don't think that anybody's got the message, Jesse. No. Do you think you should say it more? Or?
I don't think the Sens have.
Well, certainly not.
Look at your division. Look at what the Leafs have been for years. How do you draft Brady Tkachuk and not lick your chops and go, we're going to punk these idiots every single time we play them? No, we're just going to kind of pass it around and do some cardio and blow a bunch of leads. And what are you doing? What are you doing? You're wasting a unicorn. You understand? How many Brady Tkachuks are there in the NHL? 5?
Healthy ones, too.
Healthy ones? In their prime?
24, making $8 million. Amazing contract.
You have better, younger, bigger Tom Wilson, and you're wasting him? What are you doing?
Yep. And now it's squarely. So the great thing now is that we don't have to talk about, nothing can change until ownership does, right? That's been the conversation for 5 or 6 years. Now we can actually put that squarely on Steve Staios and whoever decides that they're going to work under Steve Staios.
I think people actually want to work for the Senators.
Of course they do. Listen, it's an NHL job. Of course they want to work. People wanted to work under Eugene Melnyk. People were willing to accept that.
Yeah, not as many.
Yeah, but Pierre Dorion was willing to accept that for years and years and years. And frankly, the forfeiting the pick aside, he didn't do a bad job accumulating talent.
No, the talent we're talking about right now isn't something Steve Staios accumulated. That was before him.
Hey, do you mind if you're one of the lowest paid GMs in the NHL? No. Do you mind if I do a bad job? No. You're hired. I think that's how that worked.
No, there's 32 jobs in the entire world for this. Those are very coveted positions.
Yep. And I think there'll be plenty of people that want to work there, and I think there'll be a change. But again, the question to me again is and we've said this for years. What are you? No. What are you? And I think you're right, Steve. You got to do that. Now going into the holiday season, gentlemen, there's other hockey stuff, but it's kind of starting to slow down. I wanted to know what your plans were. What are you guys doing? What's the holiday plan?
Leo's great grandmother is visiting from Scotland.
Wow.
So that's very magical. Just get together, a whole big bunch, friends and family.
Like what though? What are you doing? What's your Christmas day look like? What's your Christmas Eve look like?
Okay. So day, eating.
Okay, where?
Ask me about night.
With who?
Drinking. Family, dude.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve is always the Italians.
Okay, so I was just gonna say, is when do you do your side and when do you do your wife's side?
Christmas Eve is the Italians. Christmas Day is the Scots. Mm-hmm. Boxing Day, I think, is Friends, and then 27th is the Wasps, and then I'm not sure after that.
Okay, Jesse, what about you? What do you got going on?
It's the same thing, just family. You got to do all the different trips. I was wondering if we have you mentioned the Italian family. Do we have our try a little panettone segment? Is it here with us or is it downstairs?
I believe it's downstairs. We have a panettone downstairs. I was going to ask you about Armenian Christmas, Jesse. Do you celebrate that January 6th?
It's January. Yeah, it's next year.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so Jesse's gonna be doing that.
Do you have we have lots of gifts to get to.
We do?
We have the paintings. We have the
Okay.
Panettone.
Yeah, well, that's why I was starting off the Christmas segment by asking you guys what you're doing.
What are you doing on Christmas?
What am I doing on Christmas?
Yeah.
Well, so here's the routine. Okay, so I don't have Everly this Christmas, so I'm going to my mom's Christmas Eve, and then I am going to Natalie's family's Christmas in the morning the next day. But we'll we'll wander in like a couple of teenagers at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we go to Natalie's family has 40 people around a table.
That sounds like your nightmare.
Well, it's chaos.
That's a big table.
Absolute chaos. And it's there are at least 10 of them are under the age of 5. And if Everly had been there, that'd be 11. So there are a lot of children running around. So it's crazy. But this year we know that we're going to work because Natalie always makes like a turkey and one of the 2 turkeys. They're both 30 pounders going. But or 20 pounders, excuse me. But
It's only 40 pounds of bird.
that's right.
Okay.
That's how many people are there. But then being the kidless, we then are also on cleanup duty as well because people with kids, it's like they gotta go. Like it's 7 o'clock rolls around and they all turn into pumpkins. So we know that it's going to be a late Christmas day. So I'm taking it easy this weekend because you got to bring it up and get ready because Christmas Day you're rolling up your sleeves and you're getting crazy. And then nothing on December 26th. And then I believe I'm hanging with you guys on the 27th.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the day.
Yeah.
Oh,
28?
I think it's the 28th.
Yeah, I
was
think
the
you
28th?
definitely
Oh,
have that day wrong. Yeah.
It's the 28th.
Yeah.
I'm picking up Everly on the 27th. That's
There
what
you
it
go.
is.
There you
Hey,
go.
all right. Yeah, so I'm excited. Now, one of the things that we got this year that we wanted to show off is
so damn
this
cool.
is very, very cool. This is one of our listeners. And Jesse, you could kind of explain a little bit about these photos. Because you and Christina talked about it. Now, this is from AP Crowley Studios. This is available right now on Etsy. And this guy is a big fan of the show.
Yeah, huge listener of the show. I didn't coordinate this. This was our salesperson Christina, so I don't have all of the background on how she acquired this, but he reached out and we want to do a special shout out to his Etsy shop. Do you have the link there?
I do.
For-
It is yes, apcrowleystudios.etsy.com.
How do you spell Crowley?
Crowley. For the Aussie fans, it's the way you spell Mr. Crowley.
And he decided for Christmas to gift us a couple drawings.
Yes.
So
Put it in the 3-shot.
yeah, put in. There you go.
Yeah.
So we got Steve Dangle was gifted a Steve one with Steve playing hockey and then the Leafs logo in the back. I'm trying to describe it best for the people on
Me
audio.
playing hockey against
And then if you want to describe the goalie one, you got as well.
I have Felix Potvin on one side, Ron Hextall on the other, and in the middle, it's the two of them beating the shit out of each other, which was like one of the greatest days of my childhood.
And then Adam and I also have packages, but we have not opened ours.
Right, but there's an A, a B, and a C on these packages. So I'm assuming we go A, B, C.
Yeah. I assume they're in the order.
So do you want to open A?
No, your name is Adam.
but you're...
I will take B for Blake.
Okay, all right.
Oh, B for Blake and C for Steve.
Kativ. All right, Kativ.
All right, Steve.
I don't know what this is gonna be.
Was that on camera? That was
Oh, baby.
Oh, JT.
Oh my God, there's so many prints.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, there's so many prints. So
Holy Toledo.
the interesting thing about this creator is that he
Hey.
is light sensitive, and one of the things that he likes to do is sit in his studio. Oh, I love this. Sits in his studio and listens to Steve. This is how he got into the show. This is how he got into Steve Dangle.
Oh my gosh.
And he likes to do this art and kind of zone out, and this is his thing. So you can buy these for anybody in your life.
This art is done by somebody who is legally blind.
It's amazing that he's able to do this art, and this is how he this is his gift to the world, I would say.
It's Bobby Bond.
Yeah.
Dude, that picture goes hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody listening, we got a Sittler one, a Sittler print, Nick Robertson,
I think we all got different ones.
Paul Matier, Matthews.
Lava Paul Matier.
I got Geo as well, and then Sittler. So there you go. Who do you got on your list, Adam? Adam, yeah.
Sorry, I got the St. Pat's. I got St. Matt's. You see?
Hey.
Hey,
Oh.
Matt Sundian.
We got Johnny T, right? Johnny Toronto. Definitely not Johnny New York. Morgan Riley. And my boy, who I hope has a very Merry Christmas, Ilya Samsonov.
I got Willie Stiles. William Nylander. I got Joseph Woll. Hot damn, that photo is just so sexy.
Good shot.
I got Mitchell Marner. Saturday Night Live. I don't know why I use that voice. Adam, I think you should have this one. It's Dougie Gilmore.
Oh, can I steal it?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. I know that's your guy.
love that.
This guy's my guy, though. Bobby Bond. And that's it.
So very cool. Thank you, Mr. Crowley, for sending that over. It's apcrowleystudios.etsy.com if you want some prints. He does an amazing, amazing job. And another listener of ours with a ton of talent. Crazy.
I want to steal the Robertson one.
Yeah.
I love defensemen. So I need it. I need it in my life.
Are we doing a press conference today?
We can.
The Presser.
Sure.
The Steve Dangle Press
Can I ask the
Conference.
first question?
Go ahead.
What the hell happened with Nolan Patrick?
Well, okay, so the Nolan Patrick story is interesting. It was reported that he was retired, and then a Global News reporter in Winnipeg reported that he hadn't retired.
Like 7 hours after the initial report.
And then I guess the initial Nolan Patrick report was never verified.
So he's working for that skills
Company.
place, right?
Yep.
Company, right? So the person who tweeted out that he's joining the skills company included in that he's retired, and through his retirement he's going to be doing some skills coaching there. And the person who tweeted that out never really verified with Patrick that he's going to be retired and working there full time. So he still has his career like, hey, I'm just doing this now because I don't have a gig with any team, but I'm not really retired. So yeah, that's what happened.
And Freech was all over that. So yeah, it's kind of sucky
Yeah.
because you don't want to retire somebody before they're retired.
Yeah.
Dude, like between the Ohtani stuff and there was, is it Yamamoto stuff?
Oh yeah, Moto, who just signed in LA.
Yeah. And like, dude, what are we doing here? And the Perry stuff.
Well, I just think it's
Patrick
This one wasn't like media. This was a person at their team incorrectly tweeting out the announcement of him joining them. This isn't like media reports being like, Nolan Patrick's retired and I got the scoop. This is somebody incorrectly announcing his new job and including that he's retired from the NHL and that's why he's doing the new job.
Right. I don't know. It just feels like we cannot get a grip on what is and isn't real. And it's it's been a really frustrating few weeks. Like hopefully it's just a blip and not the trend. It's nice to know the things I'm reading are real.
yeah, but people are going to make mistakes. I'm not too worried about it.
It feels like there's-
I know it affects lives, but like this is the world we're in. So I don't expect human beings to be perfect, and I definitely don't expect reporters to be perfect. Plus, the Ohtani stuff was just annoying because somebody got burned on their source.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it was.
Silly geese.
This is from August Fly G.
Oh,
Should there be a place in the Hockey Hall of Fame for players like Bob Probert and Joey Kosher? Kosher? Far from being the best players, but you could argue that they were part of the most famous players for a period of time.
So my answer is yes, but you can't do it now, so you've missed the boat. The NHL does not want to glorify that part of the game. They won't get rid of it, but they don't want,
And which part of the game are you specifically?
well, fighting.
Yeah.
And they've had years-long battles over CTE and class action lawsuits, and a lot of it involving these guys. I agree. Like, we never talk about penalty minutes when it comes to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and we never talk about amount of fights. There's an argument, like Ty Domi should be in the Hall of Fame, or Marty McSorley,
Tiger Williams.
maybe Tiger Williams, Georges Laraque. Who's tougher in NHL history than Georges Laraque? He might be one of one. How many goals does he have? Like 20 in his whole career?
yeah. I think the thing is the Hockey Hall of Fame is for the best players, and no offense to Joe Kosher, who I was a huge fan of his line with Chris Draper and Kirk Maltby on those Detroit Red Wings teams that won so many cups and were so successful. I mean, no. No, you can't have that in the Hall of Fame.
Not now.
And not because they're not great guys, but because they're not like, if they hadn't have had the star power on their team. Joe Kocur is a good player. We played him in the tournament, the Easter Seals. He actually gave me a good. Yeah. He was the guy that hooked me down. Like, he was the NHL player that like put his stick around my entire waist and spun me around.
I feel like our most recent one?
Yeah.
I had no idea it was out there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was so scary.
He was hilarious.
I almost
Hilarious
skated
guy.
into him. I'm glad I avoided him.
Yeah, like he is. I want to say apparently a really great guy. I mean, we had a blast with him on the ice, but so this isn't like a personal attack. You always have to say that for some reason. But like those guys, like imagine Joe Kocur played on the Anaheim Ducks of that era, who were not a playoff team, or played on whatever shitty team you want to mention. The difference is if Nick Lidstrom had played on the Anaheim Ducks of that era, who were not that good, post-Korea, post-Solani, Nick Lidstrom would have been unbelievable. And Joe Kocur would have been just another guy. And I think we elevate players into the Hall of Fame who elevate other players. They're so good that everybody gets better around them. So to me, as much as I appreciate their contributions, I love Ty Domi. I love Max Domi. I love like Darcy Tucker. These guys are great.
Oh, yeah.
I think they'd even tell you, well, none of us were Matt Sundin.
It's just we grew up being told how important these players were.
And they are.
And then it's like, okay, well, then they should be represented in the Hall of Fame. And everyone who told us that growing up is like, well, no. Well, then what's the point? Like, are you making shit up or what?
Well, I think that you can make the argument that any player has an important role in the team to play it to their best. But it's not the Hockey Hall of good at their role. It's the Hockey Hall of Fame, as in the guys who were the best of the best of the best in their era.
Yeah, I'm fully playing devil's advocate on this one.
Okay.
It's just we were told that
the internet loves that, by the way. You should be more of that. You should do more. No one plays devil's advocate on the internet enough.
You won't believe what my job is.
This one comes from Joyce, and it's mostly for Adam.
Okay.
Because I think you might have the most knowledge on this subject, and it's Twitter.
Having a big butt. Oh, Twitter. Okay, sorry.
Joyce writes, mostly for Adam, do you think the long-term home of hockey press and discussion will remain on Twitter? I'm not here to bash Elon, though I don't blame you if you do. But for better or for worse, it's becoming less relevant of a platform.
Agreed.
I think there should be a discussion if we need a central platform. Social media breeds outrage and stokes conflict. And I feel like a lot of horrible things brought up on the SGP and elsewhere are just a function of what the platforms incentivize.
Well, are we bringing up horrible things on the SDP?
I think
Trying to understand that.
I think we bring up topics that my dad, for example, would never know about unless I told him.
Yeah, because they come exclusively from that website. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, but so does a wealth of knowledge that none of us would ever have. Like, the thing is that we used to read, Steve and I always talk about this, used to read Damien Cox every Saturday, right? He was the Toronto writer. And with no offense to him, his point of view to me is so outdated at this point. I would never read a Damien Cox column. It's the internet gave rise to, and Twitter, people forget this. Twitter was a really positive place when it started. Guys like, the pension plan, like I'm just speaking specifically to hockey here. Mm-hmm. Where would James Myrtle be without his blog spot?
Oh, I know.
Where would those pension plan puppet guys change the way I looked at the game forever?
Dude, Merrick.
Forever. Merrick, absolutely. Where did these guys all come from? So as much
But I would
as,
say those guys are more a result of the blog era as opposed to like the Twitter era.
But that's
right?
how I found them, right? I guess.
Oh, you found them.
That's how you found the blogs.
Sure.
So I think, and I still think guys like Kevin Papetti, Kevin Cushman, Kyle Cushman, excuse me. Like there's great Leaf people online, and I think that there's
Nick Barden, gosh darn it.
Yeah, I think that yes, there are conversations that come up because hardcore hockey fans are on there, and yes, there should be a different platform. Here's the problem, though. How do you get everybody to agree on what platform that should be? There's people that are on Reddit, there's people that are on Instagram, there's people that are on TikTok, and frankly, Twitter was just the first one to come along, and we all got used to it, so it's sort of hard to break that habit no matter how shitty the website becomes. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, like, the hate speech has gone through the roof.
great.
the bots are through the roof or whatever.
Every single post.
But if you limit your replies, you don't see a lot of that. So for me, I limit a lot of my replies and make sure that that shit stays out of it.
I've had to.
And so I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it'd be great to have another platform. I just don't know what that would be. And I think Blue Sky and what were the other two? Threads. And there was one more that was like Mega something.
I know.
Mastodon. Nobody is migrated over. It's all there. It's all available. Nobody's going.
Well, what if we don't need a place where everyone can access everything?
I think that maybe that would be a good thing.
I was thinking about
that. I like that a lot.
I was thinking about Discord, and I was about to portray it as like not good because Discord is a bit more of an echo chamber.
Yep.
But is it an echo chamber or is it just specific? I am interested in this. So I am going to go here to discuss this. You go on Twitter and you post, I love eating pancakes, and then someone calls you a slur. And like, it's just, you don't need every...
Don't you know how you're hurting people by eating those pancakes? Don't you know where they come from?
It's like a town crier, but we're all the town crier and can all hear each other, and maybe we've outgrown it.
I feel a little bit like that. I do feel like some of the best prep comes from Twitter.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't tweet as much as I used to. And I really have found that limiting my social media has made me a happy person.
Well, also,
it's just not great. It's just not great for you right now.
Remember what Twitter is. It's a microblog. And in a lot of ways, it like kind of, in some ways, it helped promote blogging and killed it. Like, why read when I can just go on Twitter and read anything anyone farts out? I think the problem is the platform, like the stuff on the platform fucking stinks.
Can I tell you, I want to tell you guys a story. And Steve and Jesse know this story really, really well. What blows me away about the way that Twitter has changed how we see things and what we trust, it's mind-boggling to me. So in September, a Twitter account, CTV tweeted out about there might be a rise in COVID cases, okay? This fall, this winter.
Remember this.
So CTV tweeted that out, and people exploded at them. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You're full of shit. Nobody trusts you. You're Trudeau's mouthpiece, whatever, okay? So, your typical venom, right? All the stuff you'd expect. Same day, I read these tweets the same day, some other person who just happens to be a part of the hockey Twitterverse tweets out a receipt and with no tip on it and says the SDB guys stopped by my workplace today. Thanks for the tip. And it was like $0.
Yes.
And everybody believed it. So we look at the CTV thing about COVID, which is a government issue, and nobody believes that. We look at the receipt, and the three of us, and you've known us for as long as you've known us, and people were like, Steve, Jesse, and Adam, I always knew they were horrible people. And the guy had to tweet out later, hey, that wasn't that this is a joke, guys. Like,
thank goodness they did.
Yeah, because we started getting angry emails from people going, how the fuck can you treat wait staff like that? And we're like, what the hell? Actual emails. And I think
I don't even hold that against the person who made the initial post.
But isn't it,
you have to be more literate than that.
But isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that the way that Twitter has kind of skewed that? And I think that to me was a big wake up call. Like, okay, I got to probably get away from this site. And not everybody's lunatic opinion should be taken as fact, even if it has 60,000 likes on it. That's not generally how people necessarily have to feel. And I've seen people tweet about this too. There's a lot of conversations that happen on Twitter that if you talk to people outside of Twitter about it, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I think a lot of that, like I blame us. The media, like when I remember being on BT with the rise of Trump and all that stuff, everybody was talking about what he's tweeting every day. And I remember thinking, what if we just didn't tweet it or didn't report what he tweeted? What could happen? And we just never did. And I think, so this is a belabored point, but I do think the site's not great. I do think there isn't a viable alternative. And I think you got to limit how you use it and what you use it for. You have to be, it can't just be you stick your head in like it's Harry Potter and it's Dumbledore's memory and you're going like taking the whole thing in. You know what I'm talking about. You gotta be smart about, okay, I'm gonna dismiss that. That's bullshit. Oh, but that's a useful piece for my life.
Pensive.
That's it.
That was bothering me.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, no, it's like, you've all walked by Dundas Square and it's like someone going, Brad Pitt is my father and he invented COVID in a lab. Except instead of being like, I hope that person gets help, you're like, I will follow that guy now and believe everything he says.
Yes. Yeah. And give him a high five every time he says it. Definitely.
And then you make his life yours.
Yes.
And they multiply. And anyway, I wish you didn't ask me that depressing question. Can we have? Can that not be the way we go into Christmas?
No, I have
lots more questions.
Okay,
good.
We're good.
I have more questions. Nobody was.
I didn't think that was depressing. I thought we gave a good.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
Did you find it depressing, Jesse?
Not. I don't know where Steve's getting that from.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Out on his own island.
Island of Steve.
Yeah.
Island Road. Yeah. Oh, hey! There he goes. Is he in it or on it?
Yeah. This is from Boxcar 182.
I'm in this island. It's not a special one.
Now you want to feel depressed? You want to feel depressed? I'm going to read you something that's going to make you real depressed.
Let's go.
In Steve's most recent video, he talked about how the Red Wings had bad goaltending, but at least they made it to the finals. He felt that was acceptable because at least they won 3 rounds, which the Leafs haven't done in over a quarter of a century. Right? That's
It hasn't happened since the last time they won the cup, actually. The Leafs have never won 4 rounds in a year.
Yep. Did you know the Leafs have actually never won 3 rounds? In 1967, the playoff bracket was 4 teams. When they last won the cup, they only won 2 rounds. They have never won 3 rounds in a single playoff run in the history of the franchise.
Wow. That's funny. Now that's depression. That's what depression feels like.
I didn't know that. Boxcar 182. Thank you. That is fascinating information.
I did know that, but I still didn't need to be reminded of that.
I regret the alarm that got me out of bed this morning.
They've never won 3 rounds ever.
What's their name?
Boxcar 182 on Discord.
Boxcar 182. What the fuck? Merry Christmas.
Do you want to end it there? Or do you want more?
I want one more.
No.
Okay, I got more.
One more.
This
is from J. Roy Bot 94. Leafs trade Samsonov.
Oh, good. Oh, this is the theory? Fuck.
Along with a first-round pick.
Okay, I'm out already, but continue.
And whatever other middle-tier piece or pieces that makes it work to Carolina for Ranta and a right-shot D-man, Brett Pesce, half retained.
Sorry, what are we trading?
Maybe we shouldn't have legalized it.
J. Roy Bot 94 wants Brett Pesce and Antti Ranta from Carolina in exchange for Samsonov and a first and whatever you might have to sweeten, which I don't think you would.
I don't think there's a fit there. I appreciate it.
I'm doing some math. Mm-hmm. I think half retaining Pesce and doing the Ranta Samsonov swap, I think makes the money about even.
Yeah, so both Pesce and Ranta are on expiring deals. Pesce's cap hit, if retained, would be $2 million, and Ranta's cap hit is $1.85 million. So with Sammy leaving, it's almost exactly dollar in, dollar out.
So it's not a terrible idea. The problem is it's pissing into the wind. Like you're basically trading a first for Pesce, half retained.
Yeah.
Which is rich for Pesce, but Pesce will make you a better team.
And you're finger crossed that Ranta can get it back together more than Sammy can.
Yeah, you can't.
The logic is there.
Crossed.
Don't be so mean to
no.
J. Roy Bot 94.
I'm being a dick. I'm being a dick.
Steve's
logic,
going to your house.
The logic is there, but too much. You're paying too much for a trade that is, at least in part, pissing into the wind. You're hoping Ranta is better than Sammy because, and I just don't know if I would pay that price for maybe you pay a first for my team's going to be way better. Not just better, way better. I'll take Pesce. Mm-hmm. I'd even explore something with that as a base. Oh, a first. Not a first. Definitely not a first and. Like you're talking about like a Nick Abruzzese, Alex Steve.
Yeah, no.
I like Brett Pesce a lot. I've liked him for years. I am one. If the Leafs are going to make a move, especially with that first round pick, I want this to be not a B guy.
You got to nail it.
You got to nail it. I want them to finally take a big fucking swing.
Yeah.
And they did last deadline. I'll give Dubas full credit. Achari, O'Reilly, incredible ads.
Last year you spent a first and you got a couple years of McCabe out of it, and you did another one where you got O'Reilly.
Yeah, and Shen was in there, and like they did some great moves last year. I wish they'd had Barbashev. That was so close to happening. But I think if Treliving needs to do something here where he makes a swing that is like, this is a franchise-altering one. You need to go
think
out.
So?
Yeah, I think you do. And I don't mean that you got to trade from the core. I think you got to make one that it's like, wow, okay. This is what we are now. And the defense is the thing that he wants to overhaul. We know this, even though the defense looks pretty good this year and actually does look a little bit overhauled. I think one of the sides maybe they should look at is left wing.
Robertson is not playing in a way that welcomes him into a playoff lineup right now.
Right? Like I like Nyes. If Bertuzzi had shot the puck last night.
Oh my God. Oh, that drove me nuts.
Can you do something there? I don't mind Max Domi at center. I know everybody's on me about it, but I don't mind it at all. And going into the playoffs, I thought he did great in Dallas last year. So all I want to say is that I think Treliving is going to make a move, not for a guy who's pretty good. He's going to make a move for a guy where you go, holy shit, that's Treliving guy. Kind of like what Dubas did with Erik Karlsson. That's Dubas's guy.
Yeah.
His addition to the Crosby Pens is Erik Karlsson. That's a big fucking name, and I think that's what they want to do.
I want a trade where you know it's a home run the second you hear the crack of the bat.
Yeah.
You don't even got to look at the ball.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And there are trades like that.
Yep.
For both sides.
Yep.
Jesse?
The Detroit Pistons have lost 25 straight games. If you guys were a Pistons fan, how do you even cope with this season?
The Leafs won something like 11 out of 55 games to end the 14-15 season. And I could tell you, I was just drinking whiskey out of the bottle on camera for the LFRs. Like, how do you, like, literally, you can go back and watch. It's just me and a bottle of Weisers recording a video at like noon.
Oh, no.
That might be a problem. Yeah, fucking right. It's a problem, Jesse. God damn it. I'm a Leaf fan. Like, this snow globe is full of vodka, by the way. No, I don't even know. And
I know how.
The record, by the way, is 26 straight losses.
They're a game away?
Yeah, they're one short of the NBA single season record.
Unbelievable.
The 2010-2011 Cleveland Cavs and the 13-14 76ers share the record at 26. There you go. And the 76ers actually lost 28 games over the course of 2 seasons, but that doesn't really count.
There was a bet that I saw floating around. I'm looking for it, but essentially,
the guy bet $40.
He bet $10 on the Pistons to not win again in 2023. And he's up if it goes till New Year's and they don't win, he gets $40,000.
No, I believe the bet was for the rest of the season.
Oh, it was the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was. I just thought it was the year.
No. You have that low. It's for the rest of the NBA season.
Okay, they're gonna win.
They don't win a single game.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
That's the odds that they're being offered.
Still, that's a funny bet.
Oh yeah, it's crazy that you've gotten to the point where that's something that can be offered, and you're like, I'd take a flyer on that.
Yeah.
So one more loss, and they tie the NBA record for most consecutive losses in a season.
Dude, there's like 40, 50 games left. Come on.
It's very cool.
I wonder how far it's gonna go.
What do you think, Jess?
Valentine.
You watch the most NBA out of us. What do you think? Are they that bad? Are they really that bad?
Yeah, because last night they were actually favored to beat the Utah Jazz because the Jazz had so many injuries. And everyone's like, oh, this is the one they're going to get. Looks like it. And they can't do anything. And it's really bad basketball to watch, and I don't see them winning very many games. And I think the losing streak lasts for a little longer. And now I know that I'm saying this, they're going to win the next game, but I wouldn't bet on them to win.
Oh my God, we're going to Penguins them. We're going to Ovi them.
We're going to Penguins power play this, but I don't think the Pistons win the next few games, and I think this will set the record and then go past it.
Interesting. $2 Steve has a bet with the Detroit Pistons.
Do it. All right, another question, Jess. Do we have any more?
Yeah, I had one here. If you give me 1 second. Oh, I wanted to ask Adam, how do you feel about the fantasy football semifinals? You were up against Tim Houraney from Nailing the Apex.
Tim has had a great year.
He has McCaffrey and just a stacked cast on his team, and he looks like really good. I'm worried about him.
So I was favored to win until yesterday, when the Rams, so first off, Jamar Chase was like one of my big first or second round guys. He got randomly injured last week with Cincinnati, and it doesn't look like he's going to play, so I didn't start him. And I've had a really good year I've had a bad year with injuries, but I have a really good year on the waiver wire pickup. So I picked up Chuba Hubbard before Jamar Chase and went down so I could put somebody in. And Kyron Williams had a pretty good week. Cooper Kupp had an okay week, but he got half the points he was expected to. And now all of a sudden, I'm the underdog. And I don't feel very, very good about it. Tim's team is unreal. He's 10-4-0, and I'm an 8-6. Like, I'm third place in the league, and that's the difference.
I haven't lost in weeks.
Steve was eliminated. He did not make the playoffs. Yeah.
So I'm in the semis. Tim's probably going to take me out here. I feel good about my team.
You have a shot. Like it's not like you're going to get utterly dominated this weekend. Like I think it's going to be really close. But Tim's team, I think, is the front runner right now.
So good
for the championship. Yeah.
Actually, his quarterback, funnily enough, this week is Russell Wilson, who I had.
He's starting,
and he gave it up.
Russ?
Yeah, I think he's got Who's his other QB?
Who's his other QB?
Oh, he hasn't picked anybody up. Just starting Russ.
Oh man, I had no idea. Russ.
Yeah. So
okay, No, I think now that I know that, I think your prospects look a little better.
Well, here's the thing: my quarterback's Lamar Jackson, who always gets it done, but is terrible fantasy numbers for some reason.
Yeah, they'll win like 30-7, and he'll have like 15 points.
I know, but
last week he had a good week.
Yeah. So I'm feeling okay about it, boys. But and then what's sad is that I didn't get into a hockey one, so this is my fantasy's over until Formula One starts again. And
after football?
Yeah, because I don't have any. I can't jump into a hockey formula or hockey now. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to do like baseball or something when it comes up. I've heard baseball fantasy kind of sucks.
No, nobody with any regard for their own life does baseball fantasy.
Have you done it?
No, I refuse.
Is it just too?
It's every day. It's fucking. It's ridiculous. There's 162 games for each team every single day. What are you doing?
Like during the summer, I just turn the TV on, and I go, "Oh, I bet the Jays are playing."
Yeah,
they are,
and they almost always are.
If they're not, you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I think something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, they must have canceled the game.
Like it must be rained out. Or they have a day off. Their union kicks ass.
Chuba Hubbard, Canadian.
2 days off.
Is he Canadian?
From Alberta.
All right.
Yeah, so hopefully Chuba Hubbard carries you to the finals.
I'm hoping.
Where we might play.
That's right.
I'm up against Nick in the other semifinal.
Nick Andrade?
Nick Andrade, yeah.
Oh, baby. He's had a good year.
Show. Yeah, he has. He's won the President's Trophy, so he doesn't need the championship as well.
You can't let him have it.
No.
You can't let him have it. And you also have to diss Portuguese food on the way down because Nick always takes
I texted Justin to bring up the Panettone. I was trying to kill time to get that up here, but it doesn't look like he got the text. No, it's okay. We'll
wrap it up.
We're pushing on 2 hours.
Yeah. So listen, guys, we hope you have a fantastic holiday. We've got 6 episodes over the next 2 weeks. They're all really fun. And we've got some really exciting stuff to announce in the new year too. But don't forget your Kingston Frontenacs tickets. All-Star Game is a thing that we're going to be talking about a lot starting in January. And
how come?
There's a reason for that, but we can't tell you why. We can't tell you why. Not yet anyway.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection.